It is a great privilege to be here, not just for me, but the whole team. Before we kick in, let me introduce the team, even though the most important person was introduced twice. Allow me a minute to introduce my other colleagues as well. So, starting from closest to me is Mrs. Kristi Kivilo. Mr. Randel Lants and Mrs. Tina Widerfeldt-Kalda. Sorry, it was twice, but no harm done doing it 3 times. After listening to what the Honourable Deputy Minister was saying, and after the in-depth presentation from Mrs. Van Berg, did I get the name right? Oh, seems she didn't react. We had a quiet chat among ourselves and decided that we will not do any presentations because you already have a vision and you have a roadmap what to follow and you know the bumps on the road. But jokes aside, our presentation today will be 3 parts. We will go over 3 flagship projects and also try to frame it, well, methodologically or theoretically. My part will finish and then Mr. Randal Lants will take over, so this will be 1. And then after the break you will hear from Mrs. Kristi Kivilo. Let's see. Unfortunately, we will not talk about it a lot, even though it was said that we will. But just to mention that we are here under the EU Digital for Development program, and this is launched in December. And us, as the E-Governance Academy, have been already involved in 6 countries. And here in Namibia, it's in cooperation with the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology. Just briefly about us, as it's already said several times, we come from the E-Governance Academy. It's a non-profit organization. We celebrated 20 years of anniversary just recently. We're working on as a center of excellence, and our excellence is in digital governance, cybersecurity, and also engagement. We have around 80 employees and offices in 4 countries, all European countries. Just to throw in a comparison between the 2 countries, they seem to be different, very distant. Of course, Estonia is located in the north of Europe. Ms. Van Berg's husband was coming from Sweden, so we are just next to Sweden, across the bay. We are also comparable in terms of the independence we have enjoyed. Although Estonia was independent also during the 2 world wars, but was occupied by Soviet Union in 1940. The population is roughly comparable, even though Namibia is twice bigger. But the importance here is that we are both a small fish in the ocean of the world. What of course is not comparable is the size of the country, the area of the country. Doing a quick math, Namibia is 16, 17 times bigger than us. It has its benefits, but it also has its obstacles. Connectivity being, for instance, one. The distance to connect is simply enormous. Where for us, you go out of one town and you're in the other town. Okay, there's forest in between, but still. So this is something that we have to bear in mind when we talk about the Estonian experience. And of course, when we are talking about the experience, one must not forget that we're not here to tell how to do things in Namibia. We're here to offer our experience, to inspire you, and well, hopefully to teach you to learn from our mistakes and not to repeat them. Just to give it the frame, and then we will go over, and I will try to use some examples that we experienced in our two trainings that we already gave in the regions of Zambezi and Ondangwa. And we will have a third session of trainings starting tomorrow and the day after in Omaruru. So this is how I would shape the change, how to manage it. I'll go over each step. The vision we already actually heard. The Deputy Minister was saying that the government wants the ICT to be an enabler and wants Namibia to be the, you use a very nice word, utopia for that. So exactly, this is what is needed. A vision is needed. Without that, it becomes just a plan, I'd say. Vision can be in a way of a new norm. It was mentioned that people can already apply for tenders, for public tenders online. This is also what happens when you are dealing with ICT. Nevertheless, I'll continue. The two sessions that we had in the regions, we encountered everything. We encountered that, we encountered the cut of electricity, we encountered the lack of wireless. It's coming back. Yes. So that's quite normal. And you should not worry about it. It's even though we think of ICT as technology, you should also think of ICT as a social connection between people. Talking about the new norm, what was mentioned was the online tenders. It's a very good norm. Another norm could be, what we've done in Estonia is that at one point the government decided that it would not accept paper invoices. Only e-invoices can be sent. At one point, the new norm was that Estonians declared the taxes online. The incentive was that in the beginning, that if you declared it online, you got the tax returns, or you had to pay extra sooner if you did so on paper. That was a good incentive because normally people get the tax returns and they want it quick on their bank accounts. A new norm could also be what we experienced on the first day. We bought the SIM cards from the airport. Came here trying to connect it to the router, and surprise, surprise, we had to register the SIM card. So we went to the closest MCT office. Oh, sorry, that was just a company, it's not the MTC. MTC, sorry, apologies. MTC office. We waited in the line for 45 minutes. The line didn't really move, so we left. But this is something that together with communication companies, telecommunication companies, you can start doing online. I don't know all the boxes that you need to tick for that, but it's doable. For sure, it's doable. Coalition building, you can't do it alone. Again, if you want that yourself or your guests are able to register the new SIM card online, you have to have a partner to do it so. It's a telecommunication company. But you also have to bear in mind that this is not simply government telling the companies or people to do so. It also has to have certain motives or incentives. For the telecoms, they could get more customers, maybe. They could cut the cost of activating a SIM card. But the collision of the microphone is off. Oh. You can hear me, but can the people online hear me? This is the mic is what it's for, I think. Let's see, hopefully it will come back. Think of local authorities as your coalition partner. In Estonia, we doubled every penny, euro, dollar that the local government spent by the government, by the central government, for improving the ICT conditions. Look around. How many are we here? 70, 80? This is your coalition here. Just have to think, what is your motivation to be part of it? And what triggers you? Turn my page without changing the slide. The next slide should be on how we disseminate the information. I got my slides at least. It's knowledge. It's how you plan it. It's what are the activities, and how you inform the people. When informing the people, again, from our two experiences, one in Ondangwa and the other in Katima-Mulilo, the experience was very different. One place we had the training was a remote place. I don't know what channels were used to inform the people and to assemble the people. Probably word of mouth, or probably a poster on the local authority building premises. While in Katima-Mulilo, it was probably an email or some form of digital information. So the point is that whenever you're communicating, the communication has to be in a context of regional or local environment. You get the slides later, so don't worry. I hope you get the slides later. Fourth was ability. Again, I think the way you should frame it is that in Ondangwa area, we helped almost every participant to create an email account and to send an email to each other. But the question is that what happens next? How do you put that email? Whoa! How do you put that email into a wider context? How do you make that sending an email means transformation to the whole society? That it means eventually the development of online services and using the online services. But as a first step, you should make sure that these people who sent their first email in that multifunctional community hall can have the opportunity to send another email as well. The last is sustaining the change. You know, it's easy to think that you've done all the necessary steps, that your work is done, that this is the finish line. But on the contrary, it is the opposite. It is the start. You should allow the new norm to settle. You should reflect on what was gained and where were the shortcomings. Let's see, because the next slide I want to show you. Let's jump over. This is the one. Mr. Manberg was talking about her nearly retiring colleague who said that he doesn't want to learn it anymore. So he's that 16%. But it's important to bear in mind that when you do teaching or adult teaching, then there are people that are the quick ones, but you will enjoy the benefits of a change when you got the early and the late majority on board. And also the laggards, so-called. It's not a nice name, but it's here. So this is the frame, and now let's go quickly over one flagship project, which is called the Tiger Leap. There's a tiger, there's a computer. It's in Estonian though. But again, starting with a vision. The former president of Estonia, Toomas, who is one of the founders of the Tiger Leap initiative, said exactly that Estonia is the problem with Estonia has always been that it's been too small to matter. But digitalization as an enabler or equalizer is the way to make Estonia much, much bigger. This was the vision. It was based on 3 pillars: computers and connectivity, training of teachers, and then the native language coursework. Well, you're lucky you can have it in English, even though I know it's not necessarily the mother tongue, but still, we had also the language barrier. What happened? 4,000 teachers were given basic courses. 4,000. The Estonian teaching force is a bit smaller than it is in Namibia, so it's around 23 to 25,000 at all levels. So 4,000 were given a basic training. The schools were provided with computers and connected to the internet by 2001. And then, of course, once you build up this, you start adding new skills, new competences, new knowledge. The next Halo will describe one soon, so I will not dwell on that for long. What it has brought. I'll go quickly, but e-cabinet, e-school, meaning that your courses, your material, and your grades are accessible in a platform, on a platform. Digital ID already was, now it's mobile ID. E-residency. This is again a program to make Estonia bigger. Even though it ends on 2021, a new service has also been added recently, and this is that you can. I would say that you can marry and you can get divorced on the internet without seeing your partner, although it is not so trivial. But you can apply for a marriage certificate and start doing it on the internet. This was the only thing that was missing so far, and of course, given the humble nature of Estonians and keeping their distances and not talking to each other, it was probably wise not to do it earlier. Just a few more slides for inspiration. The white is, yeah, it's readable, I think. It's basically it's citizen-centric, so everything we do is for the people. Internet access for everyone. Public-private partnership plays a key role, and you will hear it later. %99% of our services are online. Once only principle, meaning that government can only ask your data once, and it is used everywhere, of course, securely. And government cannot just browse your data without a reason. Ease of doing business. I think the under 3 hours is when you have an electricity cut and connectivity problems. Takes less. Takes less. That's also one benefit. The new economy. Unicorn is a company worth over 1 billion euros in that case, or dollars. It's almost the same. So we have 10. Remember, we were 1.3 in population. E-tax was already mentioned, and you see these incentives worked. 98% of income taxes are declared electronically. It takes, to declare a personal income tax, it takes, what, a minute, 5 minutes, 50 minutes, 3 minutes. It's written there. No, yeah, of course, it's written 3 minutes. It says you have everything is, you just have to click, you don't even have to do anything. You have to allow your bank to transfer information to the tax authority, and then you click and sign, and that's done. And you get your tax returns in normally 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But of course, it'd be longer than 3 minutes, because when the tax returns start, when the tax declarations start, then everybody goes online, and then we have problems. So, I'm finishing here. I'll give the floor to Halo, and he will continue with the presentation. I thank you for the attention, and waiting for the Q&A session after the break, or the debate we have afterwards. Thank you.